This Deadpool negatives. Once again, health issues have kept me from producing a lot lately. I have had some pain issues, and obviously, due with this shoulder, and learn I've got to go through a lot more hoops to get it fixed. So I apologize if I fall off, but I had to talk about something. I haven't gotten around to what I was going to talk about when Sal Buscema passed, but I've been writing probably nicer than I should have been to Fleet Academy. It's just that like watching people really tear into this show is kind of unfun. I mean, Molly and the old man just ranted for 30 minutes about how Skydance should destroy this series and bury it, and it's bad television, man. It's not on standing on your neck. And again, but I had to talk about this episode because it's so fundamentally flawed in ways that I really don't like. The episode is called Series Acclimation Mil. It is told from the point of view of Sam, the hard light hologram, a cask. Um, a lot of people rake this over the coals. Like I said, the Molly and the Old Man video is like kind of psychotic. There's a great Angry Joe video about it that picked on something I missed that I also agree with that I'm going to bring up. But I might as well just speed run through the issue with the episode. Um, it's written by, it's called Series Acclimation Mil. It's told from the point of view of Sam. Um, and she is there at the behest, she's the quote unquote emissary for the cask people who sound a lot like the Kalons, only they're holograms. And they want her to explore and find out more, and they order her to join a class about mysteries. Um, uh, Hosted a class run by um, a character played by actress Tawny Newsome, best known as the voice of Mariner Beckett, Lower Decks. Her guest appearance on Those Old Scientists inspired Kurtzman to hire her as the writing staff for the episode. For the series, excuse me. And she's also there as and well, that's actually the big issue I'm going to have, but I'll get to that in a minute. This episode did something I was dreading because the show was fumbled so many deep continuity things. Like the Secret Hideout era of Checkers fumbled so many deep continuity things. Um, Except like like Picard season three had some things where I was like, whoa, that's a bit. But the irony is that Lower Decks was also super continuity on point, but that's all it was. It was meant to be a sort of, it's meant to be canon because Mariner and Boimler exist as real people in their timeline, according to Strange New Worlds. But it was also like it was like watching a Star Trek show populated by characters who did nothing but watch Star Trek and are members of the Federation. I mean, there's a lot of continuity here, a lot of rewriting of continuity. I noticed. Um, I can't tell that to make things problematic, or we're supposed to say it was lost to time since we're something 700, 800 years out from the end of Deep Space Nine. What I did appreciate is to not draw a definitive line in the sand for the fate of Benjamin Sisko. Sam's goal is to solve the mystery of Benjamin Sisko. She does not do that. In fact, she lets it go at the end. There is a cameo by, I'm going to leave the actor's name out of it. I can't really do that. It's Sir Oak Lofton. And Mr. Lofton, basically, the producers beg Mr. Lofton, who is in contact with Avery Brooks, to let him do something for this episode. And the only thing Mr. Brooks allowed, because his likeness is not seen in the episode, and they have a contrived excuse for that, is a voice spoken word piece from his out of print jazz album he made in 2006. Now there are a lot of rumors about Mr. Brooks' health that I'm not going to go into because I really don't know them. Well, but he's like that's as far as they were getting for a tribute episode. Now, again, Mr. Brooks has a right to his privacy, and he has a right not to be disturbed. He's left Sisko behind, but I would think a more fitting tribute to this actor and his character would to be draw a line in the sand and say he eventually made it home to Cassidy and Jake and Cassidy and Sisko's child, because Sisko was like Avery Brooks took this job not because he was a fan of Star Trek, not because of the paycheck. He took this job because he wanted to depict a father son relationship of specifically a black father son relationship. And Sirok Lofton, in his very strange cameos as Jake, one as a hologram, one as possibly a hallucination from Sam's head, which means she's a schizophrenic hologram. He is wonderful in those scenes, and he's actually much better than any actor on the show. We're just kind of saying something. But he answers, like, he says, it doesn't matter. Like, but I personally feel that although there's nothing in this story that says the Jake that we're seeing here is simply lying, that his father did make it back someday. He's just saying he was always with us. It could mean Sisko made it back someday. But I think it's a bit bizarre that Avery Brooks was very unhappy, and I agree with him, about Sisko leaving a pregnant Cassidy Yates behind, that he insisted the writers put on the line, promising he would return to her someday. And and there's a scene in What You Leave Behind where they actually make it joking, like, okay, we'll do the season premiere and he comes back of an eighth season. And Brooks did not participate in that. All the interview that was 10 years ago. Brooks did not participate in that. All the information, all the interview footage of him is archival. So I really think the best thing to do was to fix that. I mean, there are a lot of other problems with the episode. It's hard because, like, so many people have said so many nasty things about her online, but Carrie Brooks is just not there as an actress. Sandro Rosta was pretty bad in the first two episodes of Starfleet Academy, but once he had a scene partner with Zoe Steiner, once they realized he had a sense of humor, and to Rosta's defense, this is literally his first job. I don't know about Carrie Brooks, but a lot of what's happening with Sam is apparently input from Brooks herself. So that's why she's jumping around. I mean, she's very autistic coded. Everybody's got to be autistic coded, because I sometimes think the entirety of Secret Hideout Star Trek is made for Jessie Gender. Of course, she loved this episode, obviously. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. It's annoying. And Brooks, I mean, I think she's hobbled by the script's attempts at humor because there are very unfunny people writing for the show. There's a part of me that wondered if Mike McMahon did a guest uncredited pass on it. That's how unfunny it is. I mean, Mike McMahon understands Star Trek, but he also created Lower Decks. Like, he understands Star Trek better than Alex Kurtzman ever did or ever has. He understands Star Trek better than Tawny Newsome has. And after this, giving her credit on this episode, I would now say Mike McMahon now understands Star Trek better than Kirsten Beyer has, which is terrifying at this point. The shows, it's also, this episode also revealed pretty fundamental, almost show-breaking flaws. Like, the War College and the Starfleet is completely diametrically opposed to each other. The War College picks on the Starfleet Academy nerds and vice versa. And it gets extremely stupid because this is a post-burn world where they need to be more united than ever. There's a whole sequence And this is how you know, like, these aren't writers who are thinking about what they're doing. They're thinking what the manual told them. Where Kelrick, the head of the War College, does a thing where he's trying to prepare for a diplomatic visit. So he siphons power to create a heated ocean for a alien species. Somehow he does this by cutting the power to the rest of the station, to the Academy. Note that he is not Admiral Charles Vance, who outranks both Nala Ake and Kelrick, is not in this episode. There's no oversight, apparently. And Nala Ake says, look, I'll help you school with these guys. And so we get this dinner sequence that, tries some good gags, and Tig Notaro does actually get off some good zingers. But it's like Nala Ake keeps insisting Kelrick, who's got a different job than she does, a much darker job than she does, has to lighten up and loosen up. And there's a part where it looks like they play a gag on him, and a really unfunny one, and they're laughing. He's like, you don't take this seriously. And he's right. Nala Ake is weird. And he gets up and he says something that, he says, you abandoned Starfleet. And Nala Ake says, you think I abandoned Starfleet? Okay, in the first episode, you resigned Starfleet in shame over what happened with Caleb Beer. And then claimed you looked for him everywhere for him, but didn't find him until Starfleet came and said, we can get you Caleb Beer 15 years later. That is definitionally abandoning Starfleet. Now, is Kelrick saying she's abandoning the ideals? He doesn't say. Because there's the scene next where he confronts him and says, well, you don't have context. Well, I, the viewer, have context, and she resigned out of shame that she failed a kid. Like, she quit Starfleet. She abandoned Starfleet. That is a completely fair thing for Kelrick to say. She doesn't tell Kelrick why she abandoned Starfleet, although he would probably know since she has a file that is the size of War and Peace, according to Vance. This scene makes no sense, and it really kind of just drives home how Holly Hunter is doing nothing with this character but the bare minimum. So like, you do context. If you don't have context with this and that alien race, you think in absolutes, blah, blah, blah. You're the bad guy. I'm like, does this woman have a writer in the contract that she can't win the argument? Because Kelrick makes a good argument. Kelrick was right. The actor playing Kelrick, Raul Baneja, no matter how much of a stuffed shirt they make him, he gives the guy grace and nuance that quite frankly, Nala Ake should also have. But now it seems like Hunter's just like flopping around. And I look like, this is Holly Hunter. Like, do you know how many times I watched Raising Arizona as a kid? How much I liked The Firm or Broadcast News? I mean, I'm sure they're paying her a nice amount of money, but could she at least like earn that money? It just seems like she's just having to country. I don't want to wear shoes. I want to be the fun person. I just don't get it. But I want to get, the thing I want to get to, because even I have to say something about this. At the end of the episode, and to Creek's book's credit, when she speaks with, at the end of the episode, the professor of the mysteries class, whose first name is Illa, gives her a book there was a rumored book that Jade Sisko wrote called Anselm, which is about his father. And she says it was never published. Then Illa produces a leather-bound copy of it that's preserved for 800 years. That's called being published. You wrote the episode, you do not know what words mean. And she reads it and gets a message. Like, is she talking with Jason? It's purposely ambiguous, but it makes the character look like a schizophrenic. And to Carice Book's credit, she gets through the fact that like she's afraid her cask maskers will send her home, that she doesn't think she can be an emissary, she doesn't want to lose herself. And Sirok Lofton does a wonderful job counseling her, but of course he's got to lead with, you are enough. I mean, yeah, but you don't have to like break into a Bajoran religious, like a Bajoran church basically what you did, and just like yell at people about Sisko, or have Caleb pre-program to get drunk. It's like, and she just says okay, and she hangs up on her cast masters, but they can't send her back. She doesn't have a Federation liaison. She should have a Federation liaison. She's the only member of a race that may join the Federation. Do these writers do any like thinking? Like, they just say, well, we need this conflict for the episode, so X will happen. Like, that whole thing about draining the power of the school didn't need to happen. Kelra could have just approached Ake with asking her for help. That would have been more plausible. But okay, somehow Ayla has this book, and like, again, comparing, except using the word emissary, the comparison between Sam, who's a 4-month-old hologram learning to live with humans, and what Sisko had to do in Deep Space Nine is bizarre. If there's any character on this show that would relate to Sisko and be wondering about him, it would be the daughter of the Admiral, the one who's working on being a leader, Genesis Blythe. But she's played by a white woman, I guess. Like, again, like, it makes, but I will give Carice Brooks credit. She does come off as like genuine in these scenes with Cyril Lofton. I honestly think he made her a better actor in these scenes. You know, she really gets through her feelings of inadequacy. And I read interviews with Brooks. She did seem to really. She tried. I'll give her credit. She drew on some old personal experiences, you know, like her own feelings of loss of her grandfather. So, like, I'll give her that. That last scene where she's like talking to Sisko the whole time, I think that worked. I don't think this character works. I think she's annoying as hell. But I don't think that's entirely Carice Brooks' fault, even if she's had input in creating it. But I want to get to the big surprise. And I'm sorry if this is going to come off as harsh. But I can't not. Well, the question remains, now, how did Nala get the book? How did she know about Sisko? How did Illa get the book? How did she know about Sisko? Well, Tawny Newsome flicks her hair back for no reason at all, and she's a Trill. Wait a minute, Deadpool negative. Trills aren't supposed to live that long. Isn't that a plot point on Discovery? I would say I don't know. I would say I know. I think. But that was the most incomprehensible storyline in the history of Discovery, and I'm not really sure what happened. Are you saying that Trill is Dax? Yes, her name's Isla Dax. Oh, by the way, this Isla Dax looks half human, half Cardassian. Remember, a Cardassian murdered Jadzia Dax. Just saying. Okay. This is where I've had it. Tawny Newsome, who do you think you are? Who in the hell do you think you are? Oh, you're a Star Trek fan. I'll give you that. What? But you had 50 episodes of Star Trek where you are the lead character. Where you get to do all this stuff. And you obviously had lots of input into Mariner Beckett, and I liked her journey until you found out she really hates Starfleet because she was besties with Sita Jaxo, which completely blows apart anything about that character, because, like, if she's upset about Sita Jaxo, why is she part of Starfleet at all? I mean, that's Jesse Gender's weird thing of, well, I love Star Trek, but I love to critique it. Well, it seems like all you do is critique it. It seems like all you ever did was critique it on Lower Decks. But to turn yourself into a beloved character when you've already got 50 episodes of a lead character a lot of people like. I have mixed feelings about Mariner and Beckett, but I understand what she's really loved. How dare you? How dare you usurp? How dare you, like, just for a stupid walk on, a fun member berries reveal? How dare you? I mean, there's a rumor that, like, whatever Star Trek project you're developing with Justin Timian will be more Mariner Beckett. You know, Justin Simeon, excuse me. What is enough for you? You had Mariner Beckett. You didn't need to take Dax and make it your own. That's just not fair. It's not fair. And I just, I can't. Star Trek Secret Hideout is written for a strange, very narrow audience. I guess they just want people who are like Jesse Gender, and they don't want people like me, which is fine. I should, like, but I don't get, I can't, I can't abide something so egotistical as to just appropriate a character. It's one thing to say, like, write an episode where you say you're the descendant of someone. I don't have a problem with that. But to say you are that someone is just arrogance personified. And would have been fine if you were Tawny Newsome, writer actress who had done a couple things, but you got your Star Trek story. You got 50 episodes of it. Why do you need more? And I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. Anyway, I feel bad about this, but I'm trying to be calm. But I will say one more thing. It probably won't happen now that Secret Hideout is and second season of Starfleet Academy is wrapped in Secret Hideout has already done a horribly self-indulgent tribute to a DS9 character. But there's a DS9 character I think is just as important to the fans of that show as Edmund Sisko was. And their performer is still with us, still, in the public eye. And I want to see what she looks like. She's almost, she's pushing 70. But if you're going to give Benjamin Sisko his own tribute episode, let's give Kira Nerys her own episode too. That's all I have to say. Sorry about this. Good night.